How we doing? So allow me to officially introduce myself. I go by the name COTMUSIC, but my government name is Kelechiku Imoji Michael. Oh. All right, we can start now. So, first of all, I want to say thank you for showing up. I truly and really appreciate you guys for coming through. So, to start with, what we have for our agenda for today. So, we all know why we're here. Everybody's into music somehow, some way or the other, right? Right? Is there anybody here that's not into music? You're not into music. I know you're kidding. So everybody here, we are somehow into music, and that's why we were initially interested to come to a workshop that we're going to be talking about music production. So I would like to say music is a beautiful thing. It's something now I would say I'm proud, and if I had the chance to go back again, I won't change my decision to do something else. Music has changed my life tremendously. I think someone that knows me like way back, I think it's Chika. Chika, we literally grew up together, and he can testify how. So music is a beautiful thing for me. Music has changed my life, and I get to this point whereby I'm having to like also help people to get into music making. Music production is just like a dream come true for me. So I started production like 3 years back, 2019. Yes. But prior to that time, I've been in the music scene as a musician. Okay. I started playing musical instrument like 10 years back. 10 years. It's been a while. It's been a while. So, well, I grew up in the church, like playing musical instruments alongside Chika. Like, the church was our crib. It was like schoolhouse church. That was like the triangle. So I've always been in the music scene. Even before I started playing a musical instrument, my siblings have always been in the choir. So there's always music in the house. And my dad is a musician as well. He grew up playing the musical instrument. He's a percussionist. So it has always been in the family. And I tried to run away from it because I wanted to be a footballer, but I guess you can't run away from faith. So I don't want to be a mechanic. so today we're going to be talking briefly. So it's going to be a series because truth be told, you cannot learn music production within 2 hours. It's not possible except you're a genius. So what this workshop is about is it's going to be like foundation. To every building there's a foundation, right? So this workshop is like a foundation to help you kickstart your journey into being a music producer. And disclaimer, when people hear the word music producer, they just picture somebody playing the piano or somebody playing the musical instrument. That's your ideology of all. But you don't necessarily have to be a musician to be a music producer. Music producer is a visioneer of a musical project. I've been part of so many music projects that the executive music producer does not know how to play any music instrument, but he has the picture of what he wants to achieve in his mind. So he will tell you, where's that? So he will tell you, okay, as a pianist, I want you to play this. As a bassist, this is what I'm having in my mind. I want you to go like this. So music producer, you don't necessarily have to be a guru as a musician. You don't necessarily have to be a musician. But if you're a musician, it's a plus for you. I don't even understand. So a music producer is someone that oversees a musical project. The dictator. Okay, let's do it like this. Let's do it. But because it's a creative work. Nobody is really the dictator. Like is a collective work. You contribute. I contribute. So I was listening to a seminar recently, Mr. Easy, on a Twitter live. Then he said something that all the music he has made, everybody that was in the studio with him, even though you contributed a word, like why you not put cough here? You're having a royalty as a writer in that music. So because it means you're also part of the production process of that music. Everybody is important when it comes to music production. So I've made a couple of points. One is you don't have to be a musician to become a music producer. I know so many producers that don't know how to play the piano, but if you hear the beats they are making, but because it has to do with your ears, it has to be the sound that is coming out from you is very important. But like I said, if you know how to play the musical instrument, it's a plus for you. All right. So I'm going to be, everything has history, and history is very important. Knowing where you come from will help you to properly navigate where you are going to. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So we're going to be briefly running through the history of music production, innovations, and evolution of sound technology. So, am I moving too fast? Are we following through? Are we following through? So history of music production, as a human being, like we all know our roots, where we started, and it's very important as a person, because you can't really change or you can't really evolve if you don't know where you're coming from. So let's really, to start, we're going to be seeing how music production started, how we started and where we are today. So I'm going to be talking about 5 most important eras in music production. The first era is the beginning. The beginning. Like the Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. So music production also has a beginning. So the beginning, we had what we call the barrel organ. You can see this one. Yeah. This was like one of the first sound production technology. We had the barrel organ, we had the microphones, we had the phonograph. This man is looking like man, this is the best of the best equipment. Like the way he's looking is like, there's no next equipment next to this. But fast forward 150 years from this time, we have amazing thing that does not even have to be this big. Way simpler, and is making better sounds. So that is a pointer to, no matter what you have, you think you just need time. It becomes outdated. So we have the gramophone and we have the audio tape. I don't know, have we seen an audio tape before?
Yes.
Yeah. Have we seen a gramophone before? You should have seen it in music videos. There's some music videos. Have you used to watch SpongeBob? His alarm is a gramophone. If you used to watch SpongeBob, you used to use that alarm is a gramophone. So,
is it the program on NTA?
So the second era, it's getting interesting. This is the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Are you seeing? Okay. This is when it started to get interesting. And we had the first mono recording equipment. Imagine this. When I was preparing for this class, I saw this thing, stereophonic sound, but it produced a mono sound. The name of the equipment is stereophonic sound, but the sound it produces is not stereo, it's mono. So that is like contradicting his name and its work. Then we have this multi-tracking recorder. So do we know what a multi-tracking is? Okay. Multi-tracking is, for instance now, I'm speaking with this mic directly to this camera here. You also have your own connected to the same camera. You have your own. We have individual signals going to a particular place. Not, so it's like a multi-tracking, like separate channels, different signals going to a particular interface. So that's, in the 1950s, the first multi-track technology equipment was created. Then we started having stuff like compact cassettes. I know we've seen this one before. We even played with it when we were small. We put barrel. You've not seen this one before. I will need to take you on the tour. All right. Then we have a mixing console. If you grew up in the church, you will have seen something like this. Mixing console. In details, when we proceed, I will explain better. And then we had the third era, the digital era, the 1980s and the 1990s. We had compact discs. If you never see this one, I'll go. There's one in my thing. I'll go and bring it. So you see. Then we had digital audio tape. Then we had mini discs. Then we have MIDI. We have a MIDI. Then we had the computer and the first DAWs era, which is the fourth era. Then we had the first digital editing system. Before, when it comes to music recording, your take is your take. There's no one like, bro, let me try my second take. Let me get, whatever you're taking, and it's very expensive. Music production was for the elites. If you don't get money, you know, if your passion in music dies with you. You see, we're very fortunate. Our era, like years back, if you have a dream to become a musician, if you are not from a wealthy family, just kill that dream. Because you might not even, or just go and learn maybe an instrument, you just be playing for your family. So it was that bad, it was so expensive. Digital editing system, then we had the first sound tool for editing sound. See this computer. It's just big. It just have big head. Then we had Pro Tools, we had MP3 players as a device to play whatever you make in the studio. Then we are now in the modern era. Somebody say modern era. Somebody say modern era. So home studio. So music became so mobile. Then music studios can be as big as this compound. With one, I will show you a picture so you see what I'm talking about. Then we had the modern era. If you have not seen this before, this is it. Yeah, then we had a computer, we have softwares, all these things I'll in details explain to us. Then we have headphones and speakers.
So many notes.
Then we have speakers. We went from this was a studio. How many screens can you see here? This is just the room.
16.
This is just the room. Outside here, you have musicians, like, you can have like 20 violin player, like, it's a big hall. So this is like the engineer recording. See how big it is. We went from this to this. The space between these two pictures is like 100 and, no, let's just say like 50 years because they were before this. So isn't this beautiful? Then one of the producers I follow, Phineas, a Grammy Award winning producer, he said the last Grammy he won, he made a song on the plane with his laptop and just an headset with a small MIDI controller. He made the song on an airplane. So music production went from having to make it in big studios to being so mobile that you can even make it on the plane. Yeah. So that's a brief history on music production. So do you have any question before I proceed to like the details? Please ask question though. You need none at the moment. Okay. All right. So that's all about history. Let's go to the main work. So in this second segment, I'm going to be going in depth to what a digital audio workstation is, our equipment, what they are used for, and how we get the sounds we get in the music we hear on our everyday to-day life, what makes what worth. So I'm going to be going into details to getting into music production in the modern era. So first off, to start me to be able to produce music in modern era, you need, the most important thing you need is a computer or a laptop, as we call it. A laptop. You need a laptop. Why do you need a laptop? Your laptop is where you're going to be having your DAW. What's a DAW? A DAW is your digital audio workstation. Digital audio workstation. This thing used to be gigantic, but now you can just have it in your system. So that's why you don't really blame your system when you are producing and it's cracking. It's doing a lot of processing. So it's just like having what is supposed to be in a full auditorium. That what we used to have before in the previous era. You are putting all of those things in this laptop. So it's a lot of processing. That's why we're having new age laptop as well to carry all of these functions. So the first thing you need in a modern studio is your laptop. The second most important thing is your audio interface. Audio interface. Most people know this as sound card. Yep. Okay. Yeah, you need a sound card, or it's called audio interface. Um, the third most important thing you need is a monitor. I don't mean a screen, I mean a monitor. You use either your headphone or speakers like this. So in music production, this is what we call our monitor. We use it to monitor our sounds, like perceive the sounds we're producing. So the first most important thing is your laptop. The second most important thing is your audio interface. The third most important thing is your monitors. The fourth is a MIDI controller. Then the third, the fifth, and the last is a microphone. No, I think a microphone is more important than a MIDI, because a microphone is used to transfer audio signals from your sound card to your DAW. So you need a mic connected to your sound card, then it picks up the signal from your sound card to your DAW, and your DAW receives the signal.
Sorry, if I heard you right, you said DAW is
Digital audio workstation. Yes. These days, those days used to be a whole lot of machine, but in this our new era, it is an application on your laptop. So like the one we are seeing now is one of the best of the best. So in the world of music production, there is this conflict. We have a lot of DAWs. We have the popular ones. We have Logic. We have Pro Tools, which is like is the father, is like granddad of DAWs. We have Pro Tools. We have Logic. We have FL Studio. I know FL Studio. Have you heard of FL Studio before? It's like very popular amongst beginners. If you're starting to learn music production, the first they will ask you to get is FL Studio. We have Logic FL Studio. We have GarageBand, or whatever they call it. So we have many digital audio workstation. So there's always this conflict among producers. The best is Ableton, the best is Logic, the best is Pro Tools. So it all boils down to preference. It all boils down to which one works for you the best. And for me personally, I've weighed my options, and though people say it's very complicated, Ableton is like my preferred digital audio workstation because of the type of music I make.
what kind of music do you make?
Basically, I make all, but my major focus is within hip hop, EDM, and a bit of pop. So for all this music, I recommend any DAW that works for you. That's the word. Any DAW that works for you. So over the years, I started with FL Studio. I wasn't too feeling it. So with all due respect, I had to move to Ableton. And ever since I started using Ableton, though it was complicated at first because I didn't have guidance, I was just all up by myself. I was learning, trying to. Then I settled for Ableton. But right now, I'm shuttling between Ableton and Logic. I use Logic sometimes. So it's, once you understand the basics, or once you understand the principle behind music production, as a producer, you can use any DAW. Any DAW they give it to you, you can use it. Once you understand the basics, once you understand the principle of music production, you should be able to use any digital audio workstation. So you need your computer to carry your application, your digital audio workstation. You need your sound card to transmit audio signals to your digital audio station. You need your mic to transfer sound to your sound card. Then you need your MIDI to play your instrument, like we're hearing now. Like it's a piano sound. Alright. So basically, so that's all you need to make music these days in the modern music era. You need your microphone, your laptop, your monitors, your sound card, and your MIDI controller. Any questions? Please do ask questions before I proceed. Proceed. I proceed. Okay. All right.
What's the word now? Like, since like I know a system has a sound card in it. System has a sound card. So can you do without, like, for some persons who don't have like the money for getting an external sound card? Can you do with the sound card on your system?
Okay, that's a great question. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can get USB mics, then use the sound card. You can get a USB mic and use the sound card in your laptop. But the question is, to start with, when it comes to anything equipment, there are always options, right? But when you are aiming for an industry standard sound, I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. When you're aiming for an industry standard sound, you should get an audio interface. There are cheaper ones you can get. There are expensive ones. There are sound card of musical equipment are freaking expensive. And there are speakers like this. There are speakers of 60K. There are speakers of I'm talking in naira. In naira. So there's speakers of 60K, there's speakers of 100, there's speakers of 200, there's speakers of 400, there's speakers of 600, there's speakers of 1 million, there's speakers of 4 million. Like that, it keeps going. So it all boils down to your budget. So that's why we have budget. We call it budget-friendly equipment. They are like entry-level equipment you get when you want to start your music production journey. And if you need help with that, you can always reach out to me. I can always put you through to that. So, but the most important thing you need is your laptop. You can always improvise. You can do without your MIDI if you know how to use the MIDI that is on your DAW. You can do without your big speakers if you can get a good headset connected, then your USB mic connected. With those two things, you can record your song. You don't need all of this equipment. But the question is, are you gunning for an industry standard sound? If you are gunning for an industry standard, it's okay to start with that, but don't settle for that. Do you understand? All right. Any other question? Okay. So that's it for this session. So the next session, we're going to be going in depth. So far, we've had two segments. The first segment, we talked about the history of music production, how sound technology has evolved over the years, what we had and what we have now. And second segment, we talked about modern day music production, the requirements, what you need to start or to make music in the modern era. And I talked about needing a laptop, a sound card, a monitor, a MIDI, and a microphone. And I also talked about options. If you don't have these, there are other options you can use. So in this final segment, I'm going to be, like I said earlier, you cannot learn music production in a day. So all I'm doing today is trying to get you guys to get the basics, understand the basic behind starting, the basics of music production, and you starting your journey in the music production scene. After this workshop, I'm gonna be having a follow-up video series where I'm gonna be talking about in-depth how you can actually navigate through a DAW. Do we follow? So you can stay at the comfort of your house, watch the videos, and apply it. Do you understand? And I'm always open to questions. I think everybody here already have my contact. You can always reach out to me. I'm more than willing to assist in whatever way you need my assistance. That's no assistance. That's a service that you pay for. But on the lighter note, though. So basically, that's just it. So on this episode, our preferred DAW that we are using, because your facilitator, that's what he uses. But notwithstanding, I'll leave you to go make your research and decide which one I want to go for. but some DAW are restricted to some type of laptop. For instance, Logic, you have to have a Mac to use a Logic. But every other DAW you can use on both Mac and Windows. Are we following through? So we're going to be going in depth into Abelton. That's the DAW we are going to be using. But like I said, the terminologies in this DAW is what you encounter in every other DAW. There's no different. It's just like shortcuts that is different. We all know what a shortcut is on a laptop, right? Like your Control-C is to copy, right? That is our basic shortcut. Control-C is to copy. But if Control-C in Ableton is to copy, on Logic, it might be Control-G. But it's still copying. I don't even understand. So that's just the difference between DAW shortcuts. So that's just the difference. So our preferred DAW for today is going to be Ableton. So you know when we're talking about music production, we're talking about sounds, yeah? There are different ways which sounds are being transmitted. We have waves and we have MIDI. That's the two we're going to be focusing on. Is there any other one? I think it's just the two. Waves and MIDI, right? So that's how you transmit sound into your DAW. So waves is like an audio file. MIDI is a MIDI file. So I will explain in details. So if you see here now, okay. Let me see. You see MIDI, you see audio, right? That's the two you see. So in music production, we have three types of track. We have the MIDI track. So in music production, we have two types of tracks. We have the MIDI track and we have the audio track. Do you understand? Don't worry, it's.
Okay. Yeah.
Just know that those are the two types of tracks we have in music production. But let's.
The first one is what?
MIDI.
No.
That first one is I loaded a plugin on this track. I loaded a MIDI, a VST. I will explain later. So that let me just delete it. Sorry. So we have a MIDI track. So what's a MIDI track? So a MIDI track is a signal that is transmitted into your DAW through a MIDI controller. Whatever sound that you transmit to your DAW with a MIDI controller is going to be interpreted on your DAW as a MIDI. And we also have audio. We also have an audio file. An audio file comes mostly in wave form. I don't know if you understand. Music production is broad. Sometimes you want to start to teach something, you don't know where to start from. Because as you're mentioning something, you're supposed to connect it to another. So like I said, VST now, I'm supposed to explain what the VST is, but I'm going to be taking it gradually. So we have two types of tracks. We have MIDI tracks and we have audio tracks. Do we get? So, for instance, now anything I play now from here.
That will be the instrumental on the MIDI.
Exactly. Yes.
Then the audio is.
Exactly. Basically. So that's how you get a grip of this idea. So whatever you play with your MIDI controller is a MIDI signal into your DAW. Yeah.
So that would be for people that use FL. It'll be that yes, for people that's when you're using a QBs.
Yeah.
It will be stereo and mono.
No. That's another topic entirely.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking.
Yeah. I will get to that. Whatever DAW you are using, any signal you send into your DAW through a MIDI controller is going to be interpreted as a MIDI file.
Okay.
Do you understand? Whatever DAW you are using, any signal you send into your DAW through your audio interface is going to come out as an audio file.
Does the system interpret it automatically, or you have to do it manually?
Once you have your DAW setup connected to this, mostly your MIDI is connected via your USB cord, like we have here, and our new generation MIDI controller too is via USB. Once you connect these two to your laptop and you amp them on your DAW, whatever signal you play here it sends it automatically as a MIDI. Whatever you say from your mic into this comes as an audio file. Do you understand? So those are the two type of tracks we have. Like if I should do this, please, are we following through? So if I should do this, we have options: insert audio track, insert MIDI track, then in Abelton we have what we call a return track. All right, that's what I want to explain now. A return track, the day I'm just wrapping up. So we're going to have a brief AMA session where I'll be talking about our sponsors and how this whole event came. So let's just wrap up. So like I said, there'll be a follow-up. There will be a series video that you're gonna be. I really, even though you're not looking. Okay, even though you're not looking into getting or becoming a music producer, the fact that you're a music artist, you should have a knowledge of music production. Sometimes I've had sessions with some artists. Sometimes I've had sessions with some artists. They want to tell me something, but they don't know how to tell me because they don't have idea of what music production. Yeah, I heard it in a song. Well, I don't know. It's so embarrassing, especially when you get to a peak of your career and you're in a circle whereby you are amongst elites in your field and you cannot even say some certain things as an artist. It's terrible. It's terrible. So please take it. At least this is coming up. This is all, like, I'm not asking you to bring some fee, you know. It's coming out free, and don't take it for granted. I know what I'm saying. Take it very important. At least understand. Okay, you can, as an artist, you can even easily communicate to your producer. Please, can you put vocals? Can you make my vocals? I don't like the way my vocals is compressed on the chorus of this my song. Can you reduce the compression? You cannot say that if you don't have an idea of what music production is. Please. I don't like the way you EQ these vocals here. Can you cut like 3.5 hertz on my vocals? I don't like the harshness on the. Please, the low mid. You can't say all of these things if you don't have idea of what music production is. So that's why it's very important. Even though you're not looking forward to be in front of a DAW making music for people, but because you're an artist, you should have this knowledge. It's outdated to just be I'm not single, I'm just a singer, man, I'm just a rapper. You're not just a rapper. In 21st century, you don't have idea of what music production is. You are in the wrong. Because most of my clients, most of the people I make music for, they're not in this continent. One of my most favorite clients, they're not in this continent. They are texting me, most of them are they're in USA, telling me, like the last beat I made for somebody, he was telling me details what he wants. Bro, can you reduce the pad in my verse? I love it in the intro. Can you drop it? He cannot say that if he does not have an idea of what music production is. You will just hear something like, artists will just say, I don't like how this thing is sounding. What exactly don't you like? You cannot say what you don't like. I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. So that's why you need idea of music production. It will help you, trust me. And you have to get to a point whereby you can work with music people in your field from different continents without seeing them. Most of my favorite clients, I've not seen them before. I don't even know if they are white or black. I just know their email, and we chat via emails. But because of we have the same, we understand the language, it's easy. So I beg you, as a music person, if you see yourself as a music person, it's a plus for you to take it seriously. So let me proceed. Let me continue from your question. You said what an FX is. An FX, like I was explaining, like you've been to churches and you had some pastor say, I don't.
Not to cut you, but you were going to talk about the return track.
Yes, that's. I want to explain what they do. Like this is a return track now.
Where's the return track?
You see, if you can see here now, if you dream,
Refresh.
yes, reverb and delay. Then this. I'm supposed to be screen recording. Sorry. A minute. Okay. Okay, so far in this third segment, I've talked about we are going in depth on what this third segment we're going in depth on how the interface of a DAW looks like, and the DAW we're using is Ableton, Ableton Live. So that's my preferred DAW. You can
It's spelled ABLETO.
yes, Live, Live. Yeah. So you are using Ableton 10. So I'm going to be explaining our interface and what each thing in the interface does. So I started with our tracks. So in music, every sound signal is interpreted on a track, and we have three types of track. We have the MIDI track, the audio track, and the FX track. But in Ableton, we call it a return track. A return track. Do you understand? So then we have the master. The master is where it's like the umbrella of where audio sound is.
Okay, that is the main channel. That's
The main channel. Yeah, exactly. That's what we call the master. So we have the MIDI track, the audio track, and the FX track. But in Ableton, we call it the return track. So I was explaining what an FX is. FX just means effect. Whatever thing that is outside the natural. Like when in people's song, yeah, I want to be. Naturally, they didn't do the be. I don't really understand what I mean. That was an FX. That was an effect. It's called delay. I don't know. Or you hear somebody singing. It's like the person was in a studio where it's sounding as though he's in a stadium. That's a reverb. Is an effect. So if you want, for instance, now you want to make music, you want that kind of effect in your intro. I want to make my voice for this intro. Okay, sorry. I want my voice in this intro. Sorry, because most of our audience don't understand our local lingua here. So sorry. Probably as an artist, you said, in the beginning of my song, probably you want to tell the producer, in the beginning of my song, I want my voice to sound as though I'm in a stadium. That's the wrong way to say it in a standard setting.
Electronic or radio or in a telephone.
For effects.
Yes.
So you cannot say, I heard, this is a real life story. The guy wanted me to do telephone effects. He could not say it. He was telling me, let me look for the song. There was no network. All he needed to tell me, please give me a telephone effect on my vocals in my chorus. But because he had no idea of what music production is, he was looking for the song that had the effect. So that's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. So even as an artist, you need to learn what music production is. So you will not look like as though, and most of us are doing this as a full-time job. And you don't, wrong. It's wrong. So at least I'm not saying you should go into music production. I have an idea. So if effects are just things that we cannot achieve with our voice naturally, but we have an effect to help us to achieve those things, like reverb, like delays, like echoes, like saturation. There are so many things in FX. So anything FX in Ableton, we put it in our return track. So like this is the default. Once you open your Ableton, this is the default what you see. Yeah, default interface display. Your MIDI track, your audio track. So you can create as many as you want. There's a shortcut to create. If you want to create your audio track, Control T in Ableton, but your MIDI track, Control Shift T. Sorry, Command, but in Windows, Control, yes. So you can create as many as you want. So for instance, if you want to create a MIDI track, so you load a VST. A VST is a virtual instrument. So a VST is a virtual instrument. So naturally, should I go there? Yeah, you can. So this is my library. You can see the audio units, a VST. So I have so many VSTs here. So they are MIDI or they are virtual instruments whereby I don't have a trumpet here, but there's already
The alias as plugins.
yes, plugins. But let me give you an in-depth of what a virtual instrument does. Like the name implies, virtual is not here, right? For instance, now I need a trumpet sound. The artist I'm working with says I need a trumpet sound, yeah? But I'm not a trumpeter. I don't have a trumpet with me. There's already a VST that can play, that have been recorded in the studio, that can play that sound. Let me don't talk. Let me show you something. So the artist is telling me, bro, on my intro, I need a trumpet. Probably I can't get hold of a trumpet, or it's an impromptu production. I needed to do something, or just to layer something for a trumpet out that way. Later come and play it, just to save the musical idea. So I will just get a VST. One of my favorites is Contact. Contact is an A-list library for musical virtual instrument. So it's loading up. So I can't get a trumpet here, and I'm in the production process, creative process. I need to put on some, so we need virtual instruments. Whatever instrument you're looking for, we have electronic instrument. Yeah, so many VSTs there. So I load up the Contact. Then from Contact, I get my library, then play that musical idea on point. Then you'll be hearing a trumpet sound. You'll be, in this, I love what the trumpeter is playing on this production. You don't know that somebody just played with piano. You think it's a trumpet, or it was a MIDI. So they will understand. So that's where MIDI files. MIDI files are majorly used to interpret instruments.
Okay, so if you were to import this VST, it would fall under MIDI.
Yes. VSTs are.
You were loading it.
Yeah, it will load up. So let me look for. This is my library. So you can see this Contact library is a model. Is like the name implies. It's like a library where you can get different VSTs. But aside from Contact, there are so many other VSTs that are standalone VSTs. I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. So Contact is like a library. So let's just say the artist I'm working with is telling me, I need a violin in my song, and at that moment I can't get a violin player. I'll just load up a Contact library that has a violin in it. See, emotional violin. Once it loads up now, when I play it, you get a violin sound. And why I love Contact libraries is that all of these sounds are not just electronically made. They are originally sampled in standard and well-padded studios. So you are getting so that's a violin sound. I've solved the problem for the artist that needs a violin sound through a virtual instrument without being a violin player. Do you understand?
Yeah, but what if we want to play live?
Exactly. That's a good question. So in music production, you can always tell, not everybody, you can always tell, please, who is that? Sorry. So in music production, the pros can always tell that this musical production is majorly electronic or it is live. There's a difference, you feel it. As a bassist, I can tell you that that bass they used in that song was played with a piano, or a bassist played it. No matter how good the sampling or the producer is, I will tell, because there are things naturally you cannot do on a bass, on a real bass, that you'll be able to do on a piano because it's like this. I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. So you can always tell, and there's always a difference between sounds that are played live and sounds that are electronically played.
Because one is better than...
It's not better. The sample rate, the warmth, the texture, what else? What the harmonics, of a live.
I feel like all of those can be mixed now.
Exactly. Another point is saying the individual, you as a producer, you are the one that played everything. You play the piano. It's just like you are the overseer. But you cannot compare it when another person is coming with their musical idea to join with your own. Another person is coming with their musical idea to join. So it's like a collective. You cannot compare a collective work to a one-man work. So if if a person sits in his house, an upcoming artist sits in his house, in his home studio, and make an album, and an A-list artist is amongst music executives and make an album, they cannot sound the same. So that's the, I don't know if you understand. It's not just about the talent now. It's like the contribution from people seeing it from different perspectives. I was in a studio when an album was being made. The question they're always asking is, they're always seeing it from a listener perspective. How will people listening to this album perceive it? But as an upcoming artist, this is how I like it. This is me. I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. You're not the one that is going to consume your music. Do you understand? Whenever you are making music, and if you want your music to sell, put your music in the perspective of an average listener, someone that does not have an idea of what music production is. That's why if you listen to, over the years I've studied hit songs. They are very simple progression with simple melodies. I even studied jazz. Jazz is one of the most complicated musical genre because it has to do with so many chords, the most popular jazz standards are very simple. Why? Because so many large audience can relate to the simplicity. I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. So, exactly. Fly me to the moon. You cannot compare it to Donna Lee. Donna Lee, yeah, oh, fly me to the moon. Simple chord progression, cool. Even someone that's not a music guru can relate to the calmness. So that's a secret I said I'm going to share with us today. I know all of us are music maker. I know you want to make music from your heart. You want to make music. It's coming. Let it come from your heart, but let it be relatable. I don't even understand. Yeah. So basically, that's it. You cannot compare a collective idea to a one-man idea. So that's why I support the ideology of let's come together and make music. Because that's why you cannot compare music those days to now. Music those days, you can have like 200 musicians in a studio recording a sound. You cannot compare the texture of that kind of sound to you, only you are in the studio. No matter how talented you are, it's not possible. That is like 200 minds to just your own single mind. I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. So collective ideas is always different. So that's it about. We understand what VSTs are right now. We understand what MIDIs and VSTs are interpreted through MIDI. So, for instance, now let's say we've made an instrumentation with VSTs. We have our drums emulated with a VST. So the artist want to come. The artist will not sing through a keyboard. All right. The artist that want to sing on the instrumental will not sing through a keyboard. It will sing through a mic. A mic is connected to the laptop through an audio interface. So that's why you have your mic plugged into here. So when you sing, the signal is going to come through your audio track, right? So what comes through your MIDI track? Virtual instrument. Yeah. What comes through your audio track? And PS, there are also instruments that comes through audio. For instance, I want to play my guitar live, my electronic guitar. I didn't bring it. It's inside. I'll connect it through an audio interface because I want to play it. That would be an audio signal. But when I want to play a virtual instrument of a guitar, I'll play it through a piano. But when I want to play a real life instrument.
Okay, so real life instrument.
Yes. Yes, and also audio file. Like a bass guitar. Yeah.
This is a video.
This is, okay, for instance now. It's not live. This is the live sound of this piano. But
okay, but if you were to play it the way
I will not control it. I will not connect it through a USB. I'll connect it through an audio interface. Do you understand?
Anything that comes from the USB port.
Yes, as from the MIDI controller comes as a MIDI. Yeah, but anything that comes from the audio interface to the laptop comes as audio. Do you understand that? So, those are the three type of tracks we have. Then the effects is which in Ableton we call the FX. Let me delete all this. So so that's it about the tracks. Then other things you need to understand are other things that I'm going to be teaching in the video, the subsequent video that will follow this workshop. So I would make sure I will create it. I already have a WhatsApp group. I'll make sure everybody in the WhatsApp group. So from now till December, I'm going to be putting out videos to help us understand this whole process better. Because trust me, it's not a day's job. I started learning in 2019 and I'm still learning. So you keep on evolving. But I believe the majority of persons here are music artists, true of us. So I'm going to be helping us to like understand all these things so that you will know how to even make your own music to some point. Then you can now go and meet a producer. I've made it to this point to, okay, help me. With that, the producer will not even, like, it will not be you that much. I don't even understand. I have an idea. I've built it this way. Just help me continue. You are making the work easier for him. I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. So, that's it about it. So, any question? I want questions.
When is the next class?
The next class is going to be a virtual class. Yes, but I will definitely follow up. So many persons could not make it down here. So the videos are going to be available for them to watch. And the follow-up classes too. So, like I said, it's not a day's job. It's a continual process. So, any question? Okay, please.
Can we get some kind of plugins or sample packs?
Yes. I mentioned it in one of my... Sorry, what's the name? Janchai. Yeah. Were you the one that called me, that have been calling me? Yeah, it's fine. Are you a producer?
Yeah, I'm also an artist.
Yeah, majorly an artist, yeah? Yeah, that's cool. Definitely. I mentioned it in one of my posts that I'm going to be sharing. I'm going to be sharing packs with us. But because of the limited time we have, I'm not be able to do like the installing. Do you have a software already?
Yeah.
Software. So I'll just send you some packs that can help. You make Afro, yeah? You rap? Yeah. So I will share some of my packs with you. And for every other person here that want to like get your DAW installed on your laptop, we can always work that out. All right? All right. So I want us to do something real quick. I want us to... I want to briefly talk about how this whole workshop was possible. So I'm part of a Web3 platform called Near Protocol. So under Near, we have what we call a DAO. We have what we call DAOs, and DAO, yeah. DAO is a short form for digital. I said digital. Sorry, decentralized autonomous organization. So this whole thing was made possible through that platform. Shout out to Niesh and shout out to Blaqk Stereo for making this workshop possible. And it's not a one-time thing, it's going to be continuous. Because I really want to see, it makes it work easy for producers. Imagine as an artist, you enter a studio, you are telling the producer what you want, not sometimes. So I want to have a community whereby even though you're just an artist, you understand what you are doing. It's not that you're just guessing. So this whole event was sponsored by Near Protocol under the umbrella of Blaqk Stereo. And I would like to I know most of us here really don't understand. It's actually a Web3 thing. It's like the future. Permit me to say that. It's the future. So it's a lot. But I'm gonna be trying to break that down to us and explain. So, how many of you here who have heard the word Web3 before? Web3 or NFTs. Yeah, so for those of us that don't understand, I'm gonna be putting us through after now what you need to get started. Do we all have a near wallet here? You have a near wallet. 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 Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. So.
But it's far.
Oh, your near wallet is far. So I'm gonna, for those of us that don't have wallet, I'm gonna be sharing us airdrop links so we can open a wallet, and from that, if you're on, I've heard of Blaqk Stereo, yeah. Who is part of Blaqk Stereo DAO, yeah. I know I've seen you. You were in Guinness World Record, but you ran. So now I'm gonna be capturing you for real. So we're gonna be joining the on-chain membership. We all have, let me get the Wi-Fi for those of us that we need it so that we can, it's going to be brief. So I'm just one by one, I'll be going around. But the first thing we'll do is, can we all go to our phone? I want us to go to our YouTube and follow Blaqk Stereo, because that's where the videos, okay. So this is like the wrap of our first workshop. Our subsequent workshop will be premiered on Blaqk Stereo YouTube channel. So I want us to bring out our phones and just subscribe and turn on post notifications so that you don't get to miss out anything. So I'm going to be sharing the link on our WhatsApp group so we can follow. Thank you and God bless you. I will send the link to us so we can subscribe and turn on notification so we don't get to miss out these videos I'll be putting now. All right?
I'm not on the WhatsApp.
Add your right. Text me your WhatsApp number.